Right, hi everyone. I thought I'd do another update on the Daytona at the moment because I've just been doing a bit of work on the doors. I thought I'd better keep you up to date with what I'm up to. So the doors as they stand haven't really had much attention from me. They came from Dax in the state they're in. They're not, they're pretty thin and they're all separating along the joins where they've joined this skin to the outer skins. They're pretty piss poor. So I knew there was going to be work there. Once I got the hinges lined up and did the adjustments I needed to there, I've just kind of left them. I did put in the two-stage catches, the IVA compliant catches, and the striker posts, striker pins, what you want to call it. So they do close and they operate, and there's a wire on the inside I've fitted which operates the catch. So I can actually open the doors when I close them. So my thinking was quite like to have an interior panel on these. I didn't want to use like MDF and cover it with fabric, and because there's no interior fabric, it's all going to be a matte black powder coat finish on the aluminium. I thought I'd do the same here, but again, because I need access for a handle, I didn't want to have like a plastic handle that you could get like a Escort. I wanted to have a recess and then have like a leather strap and a bit more period correct. But I'm not even sure exactly what the originals had, but that's kind of what I was going for. And obviously somewhere to actually put something. This hole was just what's molded in it. And yeah, otherwise one big flat aluminium panel will be pretty boring, pretty rubbish to look at. So what I've done is I've knocked up, if I was wanting to do that like a teacher, a paper template I stuck over the door, and I've just trimmed to shape and taken into consideration. I've marked actually where that hole is in the middle. Yeah, you can just about see that. I made it fit. Now once I made that for both doors, because I've already done this, I transferred it across to a clean sheet of aluminium, 2mm, the same as what I've used for everything else, transferred it across, marked it out, and I've cut it out. So what I'll do is I'll show you the sheet of aluminium now. Right, sorry about sitting on the floor, it's really hard to get an angle where you can see what I'm doing and see me. Anyway, we'll ignore the lounge position. So yeah, sheet of aluminium, it's still on the pallet that it came on because it's easy for me to work. I'll just lift it up a bit and trim it with the jigsaw. So templates, you can see the two spaces. I just pinned them down, well, stuck them down with some blue tape to line them up nice. Ran the edges with a blade and a straight edge. The other one there, I try and use as much of a natural straight edge that comes with the sheet as I can to utilise that, because it saves having to file and clean up a cut edge. So once I transferred that, I've been putting some tape either side of the cut. It just stops the jigsaw from dragging the filing, so it cuts along as much as, well, limit that as much as possible to prevent scratching. It's all, like I said, to be powder coated, but I'd just rather have less scratches. There's less to have to cover up. So yeah, forgive you for not showing this because I've already done it, but so that was done. That's the sheet that I've cut out. And you'll see I've just transferred across the size of the hole in the door behind, but the intention is to have only the top section cut out and this bottom section form effectively the pocket, and I'll create a box on the back there. I did actually draw it on the whiteboard, but this is probably better to show you this. And I've just cut out where the striker blade is, and I've measured 20mm from all the edges and put a couple of Clico pin holes in to start with. I'll offer it up to the door, and I'll show you it on the door when I then drilled the rest of the holes. Okay, so I've put the panel on the inside of the door. I've just used 6 Clico pins, or skin pins, whatever you guys call them. Call them Clicos. The reflection's a bit poor, but anyway, so you can see it's in place. Took a little bit of trimming to get this this nice and accurate down here for the striker pin to go into. The fiberglass behind was cut a bit larger to allow for adjustment of the door. Now the door's where it's going to stay, I've managed to reduce this cutout as much as possible because I wanted to keep it nice and tight and clean. The door does close, however, if I close it, I can't open it again without taking the panel off, so I won't do that to show you. So yeah, now it was on, and I was happy that this is the shape I wanted it. The door skin's not completely flat, so there are a couple of edges. I've had to give it a bit of love with a hammer just to shape it to fit the door, because what I don't want is the skin not quite on the door and looking a bit crap when it's all on and finished and riveted on. So next to my plan was to create effectively a box to sit behind this. I think the intention would be to have either a couple of riv nuts, or say 4, that hold it in place, or rivet it once it's been powder coated separately, so it's easier to powder coat. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, whether I want it permanently there or I just want it temporarily. I think probably it'd be riveted. So yeah, what I've done now is, this is 29.5 centimeters long. It's going to be 100 mil deep. That's the deepest I can get in the door comfortably without touching the back of the door skin or worrying about any vibration. And it's 160 mil deep, like top to bottom. So I will show you, I've sort of already formed a couple of the half of the backs, and I'll show you those now. Right, so just knock the door panel back off again, laid it on the desk. You can see it's not, well, you can't really tell actually, it's not perfectly flat to fit the door. And you'll notice I've just bent up a couple of these. They're both identical because the intention is to have both doors identical. If I've got to trim the fiberglass enclosure or hole to make it fit, I will. I would rather have them look nice from inside the car. So this is the front of the door that you'll see from inside. So this will be the reverse of what I'll do. Effectively, this square here will be cut out, this rectangle, should we say. This will be behind it, the back of the door. Top and bottom will be welded on with a little tab as well so that it can be riveted in. And then this will form the pocket, which you'll access, or if I hold it this way, get asked about the face. So once this rectangle's been cut out, that's your access in to what will be the storage bin out on the inside. It's a little bit rough now, but hopefully that will give a relatively nice volume of space to store things in, and having about 60 mil lip. And then the door handle, the leather strap, which I talked about earlier, will be strung across the opening or inside this cavity in the top section. Be a leather strap which will be stitched up to probably meet a grommeted hole on the inside here and secured in this side. So it sits where you need it to be, and access to it's easy, and that'll be connected to the wire that's on the lock. So it should just be a nice case of just pull the string and the door opens. So yeah, that's the plan. That's where I've got to so far. So right now I'm going to continue on and cut 4 pieces, top and bottom of that one. And then it's my first attempt at actually welding something with the TIG that I need to use rather than just practicing. So yeah, I'll give that a go, and I'm sure I'll bring you in and show you what's going on as we get through. Quick update. So I've just formed 4 of these through the side of the boxes. Just put a 90-degree bend in there, and they sit. If I line it up, they sit pretty damn nice. And obviously the tab there, the return, is where the it'll go up against the inside of the door panel. So yeah, really, I need to flash up the welder and have a bit of a practice and see whether I can at least efficiently tack, because this will be the first thing I said I'm going to do. So I'm a bit of a practice. Obviously, it being on the inside, which is what's going to sit inside, that box will be in here, so the back of it. So it doesn't have to be too pretty, but I'd quite like to do it myself. So at least I've started off with nice, clean, straight edges. So let's see what kind of fucking meal I can make out of this. Anyway, that's the 2 door boxes. Right, okay, so I've taken a couple of days between videos. You'll see now I've welded up. I literally just had to mess around until I could get it to work. Until I could learn enough to weld it together. So it's not great at all, but if you look on the inside of the box, I haven't fucked it up too much. So it's actually welded pretty much. All the seams are done. Some of it's ugly, but hey ho, it's my first go, and it's good to actually do something that I needed to do. I've run loads of bits of practice and had to go at things. But yeah, there we go. That's what goes from having no idea. So yeah, anyway, move on with the door. So once I'd made the box, I offered it up into the position that from measuring inside the door, well, you can't see over there, of where I wanted the box to be. The cutouts in the door, which you've seen, were kind of rounded corners, so I knew I'd have to square those out. So anyway, I offered up to it where it wanted to be, with careful measurements, and I cut out the front, which would be that side. That was the front. So the whole box comes down an extra 6 centimeters. Obviously, the point was to have that lip. You'd seen on Instagram, I actually offered one up between my last video and this one. So yeah, once that was done, I've actually marked this one with top. I'll put this on there in the middle. So they now sit they sit pretty happy there. So you've got a 6cm kind of lip. There's holes drilled for the Cleco pins, which will be riveted when the thing's finally in, because I want to have it detachable so that this can get powder coated separately to this. I'm sure it's going to make the guys' life easier at the powder coaters when it goes there. So yeah, that's what the door will look like. And if I show you the actual fiberglass door, I had to cut it out quite a bit because the original hole in the door was effectively this size, just with rounded corners. So I figured I'd have to trim it out. But in reality, I actually had to take off a bit off the top edge, bit off down the bottom, because the door set wasn't completely square. And then, because this is a 2mm plate, when that's riveted onto the back here, this sits flush inside the doors. This was always going to keep pushing it off, so it kind of gave me a bow around the door recess, which I didn't want. So I'll show you the door. Right, and that's the driver's door now. So you can see the square hole. Well, you can't see, but the square hole was pretty much in the middle there. And so what I decided to do after messing around and not liking the fact that it was sitting on it and giving the interior panel a press out, I've actually trimmed it out to the shape that this now fits in, so the door panel can sit flush and this just sits inside. So when it's on, it actually looks pretty cool. The interior panel covers the entire door. The lock's still in place. Still got the cable in here for the lock. And then yeah, this sits on nice. So the next step was to try and work out how to give myself a door handle. So I'll put this back over on the side. And my initial plan, when this is in situ, was to have a leather strap passing sort of through the box cavity to go down to the catch. So you could just pull the strap and it would open the door, or effectively you could push the strap as you push the door open. So yeah, that was my sort of plan. I've had a few ideas. I bought some leather to fold it over and sort of stitch it into almost like a tube or a flat strap. And then I was just messing around at home and I found an old belt and I thought, well, I'll give that a go. So what I've just done now, push this door, is I've just finished doing this side. So all I've actually done is get an old belt strap, or just a belt. It's cut just inside here, folded over, and it's bolted on the outside there with a nice big washer on so it can't drag. These holes were a pain to cut and to file, so they're just big enough. So this one's nice and tight, whereas this one down here has got room to move, because obviously when this is locked, I'll show you, I can just pull, and that's free enough for it to return, so it doesn't stall the lock. Like if it was too tight there, it would open, then it wouldn't go back. So I've made sure I filed that enough. And likewise, you can actually push the handle. So when you're inside the car, to get out, you can push your hand in here. You can just push the door open. I don't think it's a huge safety concern, because it's not like it's something that you're going to touch when you're driving along. You have to put your hand in and push it. But either way, I like it. So I'm pretty happy with that. So that's what I'm going to do now, is do some measuring up and start cutting the slots in the box for the driver's side door. Yeah, pretty happy with how that's turned out, considering it's all just kind of come out of my mind, just making up what I want it to look like. So once you actually get in the car, passenger side, so close the door. So that's the door closed. Excuse me. So I can either open it to get out, or I can push. Sorry, it's just catching on the bottom bit there because it's not done up tight. But yeah, without that, you can go anywhere because it's got the IVA two-step locks, whatever you say it. So yeah, I think probably I'll end up pulling it, push my thumb there to open the door. Once that annoying squeak's gone. So there we go. That's what I've got to so far. Right, just to follow up then on what I talked about a little while ago. So this is the driver's side box. So that's what it looks like. So there's a washer there, and there's a hex nut. There we go, with a little washer there so it can't pull through, and the belt goes all the way through. So this side is quite free, because obviously this side is fixed. And then on the end, I've got the catch. And I'll just pull it. And does. And obviously that sits in the bottom corner of the door, and the box sits in there. Yeah, what I actually do is I cut the belt with the last of the belt holes that have already been formed on it, and I'll just put a split ring in there. So yeah, I think it'll work fine. So now I'm going to do is I'm going to get it back. It's a bit tricky to get this one in because obviously you don't have the slack in the belt anymore. But I can get it in there. Put the bolts along countersunk to just tap them into the what's gone to the lock there. It's got a thread, 2 threads through it, and then hold it in place, do it with the screwdriver. So I'll have a go at that now, and I'll come back to you once this one's in. And that was quite fiddly there, but I've just got that in. The catches in. These were literally just threaded in, and it was real fiddly. I had to have this right round as much as possible, then get in the back to hold it just in place without putting too much tension on it. So that is effectively the door box now, and then I'll pick up the plate or the door liner, put some Clico pins in it, and then actually test it. Right, there you go. You can see that that's in place now. So I've put 4 pins in the positions which holds the back of the box into the door card. There will be 8 rivets obviously when it's done finally, and then just put some in the corner to hold the plate up. So if we click it, there you go, 1, 2, and then push it. Oh, that works nice. Again, and pull it. There we go. Door lock. So that's the same as the other door where you can push it if you want to get out, which is probably going to be easier to open the door. Or otherwise, I suppose you can pull that and thumb on there, which allows you to open the door. Excellent, pretty happy with that. Right, so I'm going to finish up these videos now on the door liners. So you'll just see what I've done so far, the process to get to where I've got to. This is a few days later, but I've been thinking about it. And I'm not all that happy about having this edge here. Not that it's weak or soft, but and it's not actually sharp because I've rounded it off. It will be powder coated, but I just think it's safer, probably better to have a rounded profile on it. Now, obviously, I'm unable to give this a 180 return. Like, I'm not that skilled and I don't have the material there. I don't want to cut it and have a go at folding it because I'll probably mess it up, and that's a whole door panel screwed. So my thinking was a piece of profile, get a bit of pipe, put a slot in it with a grinder or somehow cut it to fit over. So I ordered a couple of pieces and I'll show you. So I ordered a length of 6 mil. This is actually 6.35, and this is 8, the next size up. So when I offered those up to the door, I actually think that the 6 would be a better size. I think the 8, if I just show you now, I think the 8 is just a bit too large. Probably hard to show on the camera really for the scale, but it looks just a bit too bulbous. So what I decided to do was have a crack at drawing a line down the straight edge, which basically I just clamped it to a straight edge and then used a pen to draw a straight line. And then the hassle of trying to cut it. So what I actually ended up doing, I used a few things. I tried to use a hacksaw to start it off with, and then realised obviously because of the hacksaw there's no way I could get it to cut flat all the way through. This is only, was it a touch under 30 centimetres. And then I thought I'd try the die grinder, the air grinder, and that thickness there is pretty much spot on for the 2 mil that the plate is. But trying to hold this in the vise and use the grinder and keep on a straight line without having my eyes directly above the blade, and obviously had glasses on, but it was just a bit too easy to go off the centre. So what I ended up using is the old Dremel, which is great because I haven't used that in bloody ages, with those tiny little discs on there. So that was obviously light enough for me to hold in a straight line and work my way down the piece when it was in the vise. Obviously then that gave me a nice cut. I'm pretty spot on straight, but not wide enough for the plate because that disc is like water thin. So yeah, now I had a cut in it. I tried running one of my tiny files through to see if I could open it up, but that would have taken me probably the rest of my natural life. So I then decided that I would go back to the air grinder, but obviously I was able to just follow the cut I already had and just go nice and slow and work my way through. So yeah, this piece, and I'm actually obviously I've done this one already, as you can see. So I've kind of lit a few notches in the end so it actually kind of fits in there. What I'll do actually, I'll put the phone down for a second and I'll fit this piece on there so it sits right up inside. See, that's the, oh, I'm going to focus there. So there is a central hole obviously because it's pipe. So it's all the way through to there. I actually put the stainless steel, a piece of stainless steel filler rod from the TIG set. down the middle while I was cutting it originally, because I was worried that I was going to cut, it would be so soft it would go straight through. But it turned out that it wasn't that soft, and obviously when the grinder touched that, it wanted to shoot it out like a rail gun. So I didn't really, didn't use that very long. So no, it worked out fine. So I'll put the phone down, I'll put it on back onto the door and show you, and then I've got to make the next one for the other door in a minute. Now I've just finished tapping that on with my rubber mallet. So that is now completely down tight over the plate as a profile. I thought it would be tidier to leave a slight end on it, because then I can round those off with a file, so rather than having just a definitive cut, but you know, opinions. So yeah, that's, oh, focus. So that's on now. So I think that actually looks nicer. It's the small details, but I think it gives it, I mean, there's not really any extra strength there, I don't think, but it's just good. There's no way that you can catch yourself on it, or no one can say, oh, there's a profile there that's sharp, because I'm sure the IVA will get me somehow, somewhere, wherever. And yeah, to keep it on there, because obviously I don't want to weld along here, because I'm not good enough to make it neat, and I don't want to risk burning through or destroying it. So when I'll take the plate off again, and I'll just do a couple of tacks on the inside where this meets the plate, just so it doesn't, you know, can't be knocked off, and then that'll be there. I will file these edges nice and tight though. And yeah, I'm happy with that one. So I'm not going to add any more to the video and make you watch me doing the other side. I'll end this video here. That's basically the doors, as far as I'm aware, doors done for the interiors. I'll work a bit more on the weather stripping, and you can see there's loads of fiberglass repairs to be done, because they came so crap that trimming them to fit in the car is broken through where the two laminates meet. So I'll organise to get that sorted out at some point. So yeah, I'll end this one now. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to, and I'll crack on with the next video when I get time. See you later.